Okay, some last underutilized tools as far as Zoom is concerned this time. First of all, Sally, as you've noticed, I am recording to the cloud. If you are recording to the cloud, not only does it help save storage on your device, but recording to the cloud currently is the only way in which you can get the AI, the artificial intelligence, to create an auto transcript to be used later. Now, I say that with the caveat of, I want to say maybe it was back in May of 21, so just a few months ago, Zoom did release live transcription. Again, you may or may not be familiar with this, but I'm going to turn it on right now and just say enable auto transcription. And then hopefully what you're seeing at the bottom of your screen is a transcription going across. You may need to turn it on your end. It'll be in your Zoom tools where you see things like mute or stop your video. It should be maybe under the more options, but the auto transcription is definitely great. People can control it themselves on their own end, or you can turn it on your own. As far as needing that file for later though, that's where I want to make sure that I actually have auto transcribe turned on in my Zoom settings. So if I go to damon.zoom.us, scroll down to settings, go to recording, and then make sure it's going to be toward the top. Make sure that cloud recording is turned on so that that button over here is illuminated blue. And then make sure you turn off the live transcription because it's getting in my way. Make sure that auto transcribe is selected in this box in your settings. As long as that's the case, it will take a little bit of time to process, but that'll be there in your recordings. Sally, do you have this turned on, or you're not sure?
I don't have the auto, but I don't have the live transcription. I do have the audio transcript turned on though, because I do record it that way. So we have it.
Terrific. Well, as far as live transcription, that is, I wasn't planning on demonstrating this, but you can just see the meetings here. You go to settings, meeting instead of recording, scroll down to in meeting advanced, and then you'll actually need to turn on closed captioning in your Zoom settings. So again, when we get to our practice time here, if you want to share your screen, I can help you get that turned on so you can see live transcriptions and provide them for students as well. Recording notifications. Hopefully when I've hit stop recording and start recording, you've heard a computer voice say recording in progress, yes? Or probably even had a prompt pop up. Exactly. Now this is something I actually had to turn on. And that's a great little, sometimes it can be a great little reminder, almost like a cue to the students because it isn't your voice, right? I'm recording right now, and maybe it wakes them up a little bit like, oh, computer voice said something. But it's also just a sort of a nice warning for people that perhaps want to turn their video off or something along those lines. At least it's that warning of, hey, you are being recorded. So again, similar thing when we go to damon.zoom.us, scroll to settings, go to recording, and what we're going to do is scroll down to recording notifications, and it's in this area where we're going to basically show a disclaimer to all participants or just guests and whatever it is that you may select. And then that recording notification will actually be turned on. In my case, it's on all the time. So anytime I start any meeting and do a recording, that prompt comes on. I'm very forgetful sometimes to remind people that I'm recording, so that computer prompt helps me quite a bit. So I don't have to remind people. And then finally, last thing I want to talk about with Zoom is polling. So Sally, I'll kind of put you on the spot again real quick. Have you used Zoom polls at all?
No, I don't care what anybody
really?
thinks. I just go with it.
I'm sorry?
I said, I don't care what anybody thinks. I just go with it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you know what? Hey, I'll use that attitude, and I've got a poll ready to go here in a moment. So hold on. But what I'm going to say, just if you need to turn it on, first thing you need to do is actually create a meeting in order to create a poll. So whatever that meeting would be, you've gone to meetings, select the meeting, scroll down to in meeting basic and turn on. You got to first turn it on, turn on meetings, polls, and quizzes. Then from within the scheduled meeting, after you've got it scheduled, you can scroll all the way to the bottom to where it says polls, click on create, and then create your poll question or questions and click save. So I've got a very quick poll that for right now, I'm going to launch and it is available. It's only one question, but at this point, I think I've gone through everything. So select your top 3 most helpful intangibles that I've presented today. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll and share the results. And now that I'm sharing the results, I'm assuming you can see the results, yes?
Yes.
Perfect. So the test pool bank generator is one of your top 3. Priority workspaces, awesome. They're one of my favorites as well. And recording notifications. All right. If I said, I'm just curious now, because I don't care, but I'm curious. Sally, if I said top 4, what would be the 4th one?
I don't know. It'd be hard to pick. They're all good.
Got to pick one.
Oh, what's my list again? I don't know. The Google Keep.
Google Keep. Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So as far as polling is concerned, we have already done our.
I have a
Go
question.
ahead.
If you create this poll and
Mhm.
you keep going to the same meeting, you have the poll created all the time. Like I go to my own recording room, right? My personal meeting space. And that's where my class is. So if I create it once, I don't have to create it again. I just have to put in the different questions somehow, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. If you create it in your personal meeting space and that is a recurring thing you use all the time, it will be there every time. If you do it as a one-off, like I did for this meeting, for this workshop, the poll I just launched is only associated with this recording that we're doing today because this has its own unique Zoom address,
Yeah.
right? Its own unique link for this. But if you use your personal meeting room and create a poll there, then yes, you would have it available for all the time. And you can create, I believe it's up to, well, you know what, let's take a look. I want my mind wants to say 50, but that may not be true. Maybe it's 50 questions. So let's go to Zoom, sign in. And I'll go to tomorrow's meeting. I'm in a Zoom meeting, so I'm hoping this will let me do it. I'm not sure. I scroll down to polls. So it says 1 of 50 polls created. So if I was doing this again and again, in this poll, about Zoom features, right? I can create as many, I can add more questions to this one poll.
Right.
And then I could now add another poll. So I'm just going to make this up and say, if you had 50 different lectures that you knew you were going to use from that personal meeting room, you could have 50 different polls, and each one of those polls could have 10 or 20 or, whatever questions in there. So I would just say, name it appropriately so you know which lecture it aligns to.
Okay, cool.
But great question. All right. So just to wrap up real quick, are there any other questions, Sally, about any of these tools, intangibles, HTML coding stuff?
No, I use the links now, so I don't use that much with the HTML coding. The captioning, I'll do, like I say, the audio transcript later. I don't do the enabling of the notification though. I usually tell them that I'm going to start recording. So unless
it may help you with one less chore.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But it's nice to see all these other things that are available. It's really very robust in a lot of ways.
Yes.
You wouldn't think that stuff was there. So cool. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. And I'll just point this, just a quick little favorite of mine. When it comes to especially something like a PowerPoint that you have stored in Google Drive, I could see how this would be very useful and powerful for students. So even though you may be linking to videos, let's say, even if just a few things use the HTML coding for your PowerPoints, I could see for how a student, this interface is really going to help the student experience. So just something, you know, that personally, I'm looking forward to start incorporating in some of our study abroad courses as I develop them. Up till this point, I really had not.
Yeah, I think that would be nice for our online asynchronous courses, something like that for them to go through. It's more like Articulate, going through the slides like that type of program and things, yeah.
Yep, it's definitely similar. What I haven't tested out yet on this, and now that I say it, I'll probably test it out on some of my Google Slides. I do have videos embedded. So what I'm going to test out is, I wonder if it's possible to embed the Google slide, and will the video that's embedded still play? That's next on my list. Digital Intangibles 2 coming this spring.
Okay, but how much bandwidth is that going to use for the student too, right? So we have to kind of think about that. Is that going to use more space and they might not be able to see it clearly, or where they have interruptions more and things like that, if it's layered like that?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer, but what I'll say is this. I don't, and this is just my educated guess, I don't think that if the video was embedded here, it would use any more bandwidth than a PowerPoint being embedded here and then having a video a little bit further down. It may, but just my educated guess, I don't know that it will.
Okay, well, fair enough. I was just thinking.
But yep, we'll see. We will see. I'm gonna play with it and test it out. And now I'm really curious. I'm probably gonna play with that this afternoon.
Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Thanks,
All
Peter.
right.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a good
Thank
afternoon.
you. As always, if you need us, you know, id@damon.edu. Let me just share that slide real quick. So I have it for the recording. So bear with me just one moment, please. Yes, if you need us, id@damon.edu, or reach out to either me, Peter, or Angela directly. Our schedules are hyperlinked in this presentation. All right. Thanks again, Sally. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.